Hi, welcome back to the kitchen. We're just back from our trip to Hell's Brewery, and of course when I think of beer I think about sausage, I think about Germany, and today what we're going to do is hot dogs. So we're going to cook it in the beer and then add in some of our sauerkraut, onions, and chilies to kind of give it some heat. So we're going to get our beer ready, and it's a handy little trick. Be careful. Maybe I shouldn't show you guys this, but just... Whoa, you heard that? I think one of the real good tricks of using chilies is to cut them up really small. Because if you're using chilies, especially if they're hot, and you have them in big pieces, that means you're going to get a bite of a big piece of chili instead of a small one. If you use small ones, it gets distributed throughout the dish a little bit better, and you don't get that 1 out of 4 bites that just kind of lights you up. Okay, so we're going to mix these ingredients. 1 beer. I've got the pan kind of hot already. And all the onions and chilies. Look at that, looks pretty, doesn't it? And I'm going to bring that up to a simmer. I'll go ahead and throw this in here. I'm going to let this come to a boil and kind of cook down a little bit, and then I'm going to throw my sauerkraut on top to kind of soak up that flavor. But I want to wait on the sauerkraut because I want the hot dogs to cook a little bit more first. These are the hot dogs that we make here, but generally if I'm out, buying a hot dog, I like the beef hot dogs personally. I get enough pork and a lot of other things, so I generally go for the beef. I look for quality. Anything that's homemade or locally made is always going to be my first choice. And this dish works just like this. You can do the same thing with a pork sausage or any kind of sausage that you have in your local store. Okay, so we're at 5 minutes now. We're just kind of letting that beer come down a little bit, just to kind of tighten it up and get the sausage cooking. And then once the process is started here, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the sauerkraut because I want the sauerkraut to pick up that beer flavor that's in there. See how it kind of soaks up the rest of the beer? I'm just going to turn it down now to like a low to medium heat. And anytime you want liquid to reduce and intensify as you're cooking it, you want to leave the lid off. Now if you want to hold the liquid that's in there, that's when you put the lid on. So now that I have this all kind of proportioned out right, I want to just let this steep on a low heat with the lid on, so I want to keep the rest of the beer and the flavors that are in there. All right, so now we're about 5 minutes into the simmering. I think I'm going to put a little bit of mustard, a couple tablespoons in our mix, just brighten that up. Since we have this liquid in here, instead of putting the mustard on the hot dog, I'm just going to put it in here. That's good. I always like to warm up my hot dog buns, especially if they're a day old. Anything in general, a little bit of heat just kind of brings it right back and makes it soft and gives it a good texture. Take my spoon and just smother that hot dog. From here, you can really put anything else you want on it. I don't care. Chili, cheese, fresh diced onions, pickle relish. Hot dogs are a very personal thing, so feel free. I like that fresh onion flavor, so I'm going to put a little bit of that right on top. Cut real thin. There we go. Beer braised and sauerkraut hot dogs.